On this episode of the Apple Watchers, Apple Watch saves life of police officer stabbed during arrest. We go over all the new products announced at Apple's Time Flies event, including Apple Watch Series 6, Apple Watch SE, iPad Air, subscription bundles, Fitness Plus, and the Solo Loop debacle. And one of us has a brand new Apple Watch Series 6 to tell you about. All this, our picks, tips, and much more. This is episode number 35. Welcome to the Apple Watchers, a podcast covering all things Apple Watch and many things Apple. This episode and every episode is brought to you by me, Kevin Hare, and my co-host, Jonathan Zarko, aka Jay-Z. All right, let's get started. Well, hello, how you doing?
I am good. How are you?
Hanging in there, doing good.
We are recording on a Friday, and I'm very happy that it's Friday.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same. Been working 5 days a week now. Grateful to be working, but getting used to it, taking a little getting used to again.
Yeah, my new job, I'm finally ramped up and ready to go, and so they are loaded up.
Well, it's good. It's good. You're employed, so.
But I'm excited to talk about Apple stuff. We had a lot of really cool stuff happen recently.
Yeah, we're going to try to go over everything that was announced at the Time Flies event. And we do have one Apple Watch story, though, before we begin, one that's kind of interesting. You want to lead us off?
Yeah, so we like to talk about when the Apple Watch has helped people. And in this case, an Apple Watch has saved the life of a police officer who was stabbed during an arrest. He was in Arizona. And it helped him by allowing him to speak to dispatchers when his radio failed to function properly. After catching up with the suspect, the officer, who's named Sosa, his microphone was unplugged from his radio while struggling with the suspect on the ground. After repeated attempts by dispatch to contact Sosa over the radio failed, they tried to contact him via his iPhone. Sosa was able to answer his iPhone from his Apple Watch and request assistance from the other officers to complete the arrest. Now, during the struggle, the suspect had managed to reach into his pocket and pull out a knife, which was used to stab Sosa in the leg. But by using the open call, Sosa was able to update dispatch on the need for an ambulance, as well as summon others to his location. So, really cool.
Wow, that's crazy.
Interesting to hear how, your personal technology can also become a backup for, your professional equipment.
Well, why don't we move on to some of what was announced at the Time Flies event. So one of the things they announced was for watchOS 7, and that's the family setup, and also Apple Fitness Plus and new faces and sleep tracking. So we'll talk more about family setup and Apple Fitness Plus in a minute, but I wanted to quickly touch on a few of the other new features in the new watchOS. So Apple is emphasizing personalization with watchOS 7, including the addition of 7 new watch face options. New faces include Stripes, Chronograph Pro, GMT, Artist, and Memoji Face, and more. Apple is also offering sleep tracking in watchOS 7, a much desired feature that many have been waiting for. Apple hasn't been clear on the details, but we should know more in the next few days. There's also automatic hand washing detection, additional workout types, and low-range VO2 max. VO2 max is a measurement of how much blood oxygen your body can utilize.
Some of these we've actually talked about already, like the other fitness pieces or other workouts. I had been talking about the hand washing. Now that you have watchOS 7, how do you feel? Have you been washing your hands really well?
I have a lot to say about it. I still think it's pretty half-baked, and I've tried this on my Series 5 watch, and we'll get to the subject that I purchased a Series 6.
Ooh.
So, I've tried it on both watches. So, I got the same results on both. First time I was using this Series 5 watch, and I was washing dishes. So, hello, Apple. Washing dishes is not hand washing. But I can see where they would kind of, think that.
Yeah.
But every time I would try to use it, sometimes it wouldn't go off at all. sometimes it would go off, and then when I turn my wrist sort of with the watch facing down, it would just turn off and then not really continue or just stop. So in other words, what I would like to see is if you point your Apple Watch down, the face down, the timer should keep going, but it's not for me on both watches. So, in other words, you can be sitting there for quite a long time trying to get that timer done, and it doesn't end up being 20 seconds. But I also tested out where the arm movement will keep that timer going. So you can just shake your arm. So,
Just kind of like whip the water off of your hands instead of drying them to get your last 4 seconds.
yeah. And I kind of feel like this is becoming a borderline workout, you know? Like,
All right.
I mean, I wash my
I got
hands.
3 minutes of hand washing and workout. Perfect.
That's right. That's right. Because I wash my hands really well, and I'm washing my hands a lot at work now, a lot more than when I was at home because I wasn't really going anywhere or touching anything that wasn't, outside the home, right? So I had to turn it off just because
Wow.
it just wasn't working right. And when you're washing your hands like, 20, 30 times a day or whatever I'm doing now, it was a lot. It was a lot going wrong. So
I had the opposite issue. I still have it on, but for me, it almost seems too sensitive. And now I don't know if it's because maybe I'm more animated when I wash my hands or if my faucet is louder and so it picks it up easier, but it goes off for every little thing that involves water. And so, yeah, if I'm doing the dishes, that's fine. For me, it's really more of I'm doing quick rinses to just, get onion juice or something off of my hand. I'm chopping up vegetables or something. I just want to clear off, herbs or something. I'm not going to sit there and do the whole 20 seconds with soap and everything else. I'm trying to make sure that my thing isn't burning or whatever. So I kind of wish that it wouldn't show that up until you've hit maybe 7 or 8 seconds worth of continuous motion, and then it comes up. Because also too, it gives you these little passive aggressive notes of a full 20 seconds is good for health. And it's like, yes, I know. I haven't left the house and I'm not doing something to actually clean my hands. I'm just rinsing them off. So instead, now I touch the cancel button on the screen, which I mean, I try to clean my watch fairly regularly, but it's a surface, right? It's the same thing as touching your phone, and that's getting brushed on other things too. And I'm potentially contaminating my hand by then going back and hitting cancel. So yeah, it's a little weird. I think there's some tweaking they can do to really bring it in. I think it'll be good for kids, especially to instill good habits.
I could also see kids being more animated washing their hands. So yeah, I think just right now it's a little half baked, but I really like that they attempted this.
Yeah, I
it's
think it
definitely
was.
a good thing. Did you turn on the location reminders too? Like when you get home, you can set a reminder to wash your hands.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I do remember them making that a thing. If I left my house, considering now that we work from home, that might be more of a bigger thing. But yeah, we don't leave that often. So
Yeah.
we're here. We're lucky if we turn the car on once a week.
Oh man. I could help you with that though.
Yeah, you want to come drive the Mustang?
Yeah. I could take it to work. I could put 50 miles a day on it. So.
The gas will add up on there, man.
I think my truck's the same way though.
No, that's true.
It doesn't get good gas mileage. But anyways.
So speaking of kids using the Apple Watch, there's a new feature called Family Setup, which brings the Apple Watch experience to kids and older adults. It's one of the bigger features in watchOS 7, and it gives the ability to set kids or other family members up on an Apple Watch, even when they don't have their own iPhone. This does two things. The first thing is that it expands the potential market base for the Apple Watch. That much is obvious. But it also means that some parents could choose to not get their kids an iPhone and still keep them connected, keep track of their location, and give them communication abilities. With Family Setup, children can utilize their activity rings, they can use emergency SOS, they can do iMessage, and utilize other features of the Apple Watch. There's also the new school time mode that's designed to keep kids focused during the school hours. So another interesting feature with Family Setup is Apple Cash Family, which lets a parent securely load money onto their child or other family members' Apple Watch and allows the child to purchase items wherever Apple Pay is accepted. Apple Cash Family helps parents give kids a limited amount of funds to spend at their own discretion without needing to worry about cash that can easily be lost or stolen. Apple Cash Family can be enabled for up to 5 family members, and oversight can be shared with another adult in your family sharing group, so both parents can be keeping track of things. Parents can not only view activity and receive notifications of purchases from person-to-person payments, but also restrict access to the Apple Cash balances if needed and limit who the money can be sent to. So this is pretty cool because it's essentially, setting up an allowance for a child. And also, if you have some kid who is forgetful or loses things, it's a lot harder to lose it because it's on their watch, right? One of the things I saw was interesting is they can also restrict who money can be sent to. So I just had this flash of like a modern day bully who was like, "Give me your lunch money," and is forcing them to send them Apple Pay cash from one person to another. And so then they're like, "Billy stole my money today." It's like, "What do you mean? It's on your watch." "Yeah, you made me transfer it to his Apple account." Like, "Okay, well, you can't send money to Billy anymore, so he'll leave you alone."
Oh man.
Future man.
Yeah. Well, this is really cool.
Mm-hmm. I like this too because you don't have to have a child with an iPhone. And this may make me sound like some old fogey, but it does weird me out when it's like a legit child. I'm not talking like a teenager or tween, but like a legit child, first, second grade. They got an iPhone. It just seems weird to me. It's just because of the amount of like other people that are out there and the connection things, and the fact that even at its cheapest, it's still a few $100 device. But the Apple Watch has so much more functionality that I think is good for a child to, encourage exercising, and being able to have communication would be great. So I think this is a really cool step in that direction.
Yeah, this is very cool. I mean, it would be great if parents weren't giving their young kids phones and giving them an Apple Watch instead, because like you said, there's more incentive to exercise. They can still be connected, via a cellular plan. So, and not be so distracted. Like I have a couple apps on my watch, like Instagram, but it is
just that time sync.
Yeah, it's not the same. So what I'm saying is they won't be tempted to constantly be using social media and stuff like that. So,
and I'm not saying that you shouldn't have kids who have access to those apps necessarily. Like if you have an iPad and you're able to monitor those things, by all means, it's really cool to let your kids be connected, especially with family and their own friend groups. And but that's something that can be monitored. It's a lot different when it's a personal device that's given to a child and then set off into the wilderness, that concrete jungle. But I don't know. Maybe I'll change my mind when I do have a child. I will self-admit that I don't, and so my experience is completely different. And so if I've offended you, please don't at me, because this is my own personal opinion, and I hope it's not that controversial. But yeah, I don't know. I got a phone because I joined when I was a kid. I got a phone in high school because I joined football and soccer and couldn't drive, and so instead of having to tell my mom that we're going to be done at 5:30 and practice went over, or practice getting cut short, and then I'm sitting there waiting for 20 or 30 minutes, she gave me a cell phone. But really, it wasn't the same. It was a Nokia, and also I was a teenager. Like nowadays, you see little kids with a full iPhone, and it's just, I don't know, scary stuff.
Definitely. So one of the items that was announced at the Time Flies event, hence the name, was a couple Apple Watches. So the Series 6 and the Apple Watch SE. So why don't we go over the details and tag team some of this? I'll start off with the initial kind of features of the Series 6 and the SE. So the Apple Watch Series 6 has an always-on Retina display, an S6 SIP with 64-bit dual-core processor, the U1 ultra-wideband chip, a blood oxygen app, an ECG app, a blood oxygen sensor, electrical heart sensor, and second-generation optical heart sensor, improved battery life for certain workouts, faster charging, and new colors, blue and red. And then the Apple Watch SE has a Retina display, the S5 SIP with 64-bit dual-core processor, and an optical heart sensor only.
Yeah, now both Apple Watch Series 6 and the Apple Watch SE come with the Retina LTPO OLED display, both with a brightness of 1,000 nits. The key difference, however, is that the Series 6 has an always-on display, and this means that even when you lower your wrist, the display remains on. So you can always see your watch face without having to raise your wrist.
Both processors in the Apple Watch Series 6 and Apple Watch SE are 64-bit dual-core chips. The newer S6 processor are based on the A13 Bionic in the Apple iPhone 11 and are up to 20% faster than the previous S5 processor. Apple says that this allows apps to launch 20% faster while maintaining the same all-day 18-hour battery life. Only the Apple Watch Series 6 contains the U1 ultra wideband chip. Apple says that the U1 on the Apple Watch will enable short range wireless location to support new experiences such as next generation digital car keys, but is yet unclear what else the chip may offer.
The Apple Watch Series 6 offers blood oxygen monitoring, a brand new health monitoring feature never seen before on an Apple Watch. That feature measures the oxygen saturation of the user's blood so they can better understand their overall fitness and well being. Oxygen saturation, also known as SpO2, represents the percentage of oxygen being carried by red blood cells from the lungs to the rest of the body and indicates how well this is oxygenated blood is being delivered throughout the body. Moreover, the Apple Watch Series 6 contains the electrical heart sensor from the previous models that used to take electrocardiograms or ECGs. The Apple Watch Series 6 has electrodes built into the digital crown and the electrical heart rate sensor on the rear. With the ECG app, users touch the crown and after 30 seconds receive a heart rhythm classification. It can classify if a heart is beating in a normal pattern or whether there are signs of atrial fibrillation or AFib, a heart condition that may lead to major health complications. All recordings, their associated classifications, and any noted symptoms are stored in the health app in a PDF that can be shared with physicians.
The Apple Watch SE does not have a blood oxygen or electrical heart sensor to monitor either of these health statistics. However, the Apple Watch SE is not without the ability to record any health data.
That's correct. The SE has an optical heart sensor to monitor heart rate and can give notifications about high or low heart rate, as well as a regular heart rhythm. The lower cost model can also still perform the emergency SOS, fall detection, and noise monitoring, just like the Apple Watch Series 6.
Both models of the Apple Watch retain the what Apple calls an all-day battery life of around 18 hours. Apple Watch Series 6, however, offers faster charging, completing a full charge in under 1.5 hours, and improved battery life for tracking certain workouts such as indoor and outdoor runs.
So overall, I feel like that SE is a pretty good, solid Apple Watch. It doesn't have like the super high end blood and ECG features. I will say personally, I don't use the ECG as much as I thought I would. It's just not a thing that I have in the back of my head. Or I don't know. I might use that blood oxygen sensor a little bit more. But I think this is a really interesting entry point for people who are coming in. And also, again, going back, a good entry point for children, or other family members.
For sure. We don't have the prices mentioned in here, but it's a little steep. I can't recall offhand what it was. It's still a little steep. I would have liked to see it at like 199, but I think it's almost 300.
It starts at 279. So currently, Apple is selling the Series 6 with just GPS for $399. If you want cellular, it's $499. And that's also the smaller size. The SE is $279 for GPS, and if you want cellular, it's $329. But they do still have the Series 3 available, and that one is their introductory price of $199. But that only comes in GPS. It doesn't have the cellular function. So that family share stuff isn't going to quite work for the Series 3.
Right. And what was interesting, it looks like the SE, if you want to purchase cellular, it's like $50 more, but the other watches, they're charging $100 more.
Yeah, it's interesting.
That's strange.
Mm-hmm.
So I purchased a new Apple Watch Series 6.
Yeah. How do you like it? What's the tea, man?
So far, it has its pros and cons. Well, first of all, if you're an owner of a Series 5, it's not a huge upgrade. Obviously, you get the blood oxygen sensor,
Mhm.
a little bit brighter always on screen, which I don't think anybody asked for. And I feel like it's using my battery. That's another thing. I'd like to see like an adjustment for that. Just one of my complaints about that.
It
Because
is
the battery
weird.
life has, yeah, and the battery life hasn't been super great yet, at least. Although, I've only had it since what, Tuesday, I think, as of this recording. Yeah, like 4 days ago.
We had chatted about this during our prep. I think that there might be something to do with the battery still being new and that it needs to be
Hmm.
trained and kind of go through a cycle. So
Yeah, maybe.
I'm curious. Also, I mean, it'd be hard to understand because they've done some updates, software updates, but if in 2 weeks or a month, if you feel like it's better.
Yeah, because when I got the Series 5, I was having battery issues. And then it kind of got better. And
Mm-hmm.
then most recently on WatchOS 6, it was kind of like really good. And then with WatchOS 7, it actually got worse. But they've done an update since, which we will talk about a little bit later on this episode. But so far, today is the first day with the new update.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems to be better, but not like great. But right now, oh, I can't even read it. It's at 42%, which, with my Series 5, I mean, I used to sleep with it and wake up to like 30 or 40%.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not super great, but I feel like I don't want to put it on the charger because, like you're talking about, like I want to train it.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
The times you have charged it, though, did it feel like it was charging faster?
Yes, I think. I mean, it's hard to tell because I think I've mentioned on previous episodes is my Series 5 on WatchOS 6 would charge really fast to 99% and then sit on 99% for maybe up to a half hour
Right,
and
right.
then go to 100%. But then the battery life was great, all day pretty much. But then WatchOS 7, it kind of changed. So I'll report on this on some future episodes, like how it's going with this watch. But this is also the first time that I've purchased the stainless steel. So I got the silver stainless steel.
Yeah.
Thought I'd treat myself for once.
Treat yourself.
Yeah, and the build quality is amazing. If any listeners already own one, they already know what I'm talking about. But it really feels like it's built like a tank.
Does it feel heavier on your wrist?
No,
It just
no,
feels more
and I
solid.
think yeah, and I think because several years ago I think people would say, "Oh, it's heavier," but the Apple Watch was also built different
Mm-hmm.
because now it has like that plastic on the back, which is supposed to help with the kind of cellular
Mm-hmm.
reception, and
Mm-hmm.
so there wasn't a lot of weight difference at all. But I can see where the previous models, and I forget where the cutoff was, Series 3, something like that. I think they or starting with the Series 4, I think it changed. Doesn't yours have the plastic on the back? Like the whole back is kind of
I thought it was glass. Oh, I guess the piece around it, huh?
that's what I meant to
Yeah, yeah.
say is like glass, but or glass or whatever they're using, but it used to be metal and then the round part of it was the only part that wasn't metal. So
Right, right. Yeah, the
yeah.
4 is the one that was I think the first one that had the glass around it.
Yeah. So Series 3 and before may have been heavier because there was actually more, metal mass to it. So,
Hmm.
but so far love it. It's really beautiful. I like not having to run a screen cover on it or any
Yeah.
case or anything.
I'm curious if you ever will actually scratch it. Like what it will take. I know it's not sapphire isn't impervious, but it's supposed to be really strong. So I wonder if ever, you know.
We'll see. I have a friend that has one, same one actually, silver stainless steel, and he has no scratches on it.
Mm,
And he usually hangs on to his for a few, 3 years or so.
yeah. Well, that's kind of the pattern I'm running now. I was very tempted by the Series 6 when I was looking at the features, the new features that were added. I just I don't know, I couldn't quite pull the trigger. There wasn't enough that I needed.
Mm.
I'm not really big on, the sleep tracking. I tried doing that with the WatchOS 7 and it didn't seem to give me much data that I didn't really know. I think as I get older that'll become an issue, but for now, sleep seems to be fine. And the blood oxygen sensor is cool, but again, I don't really quite need that. The always on, I think that was a big feature for the Series 5. And again, I didn't really need that either. But I will say, I think by the time the 7 rolls around, I will be ready to go. Even if it's like, we're just changing the numbers the same, well, I'll probably be like, okay, no. Because I have gotten a few more scratches on it. And yeah, I might have to do what you did and pull trigger, get the cellular, and go for the stainless steel to get that sapphire top.
Yeah.
I'll do like you do and just save my Apple Cash. That's a super smart idea. Oh, man.
I had like $400. So, I mean, that helped out a lot, basically.
Yeah. That's really smart.
So, and yeah, I'll probably do the same and upgrade again. So,
did you try the sleep tracking yet? What are your experience?
Yeah, you know what? I'm not. They need to do more with it because I'm used to using like third party apps that have a lot more details.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's just not a lot of details there. I like that you can kind of set up like a shortcut, you, with your wind down and playing music and whatever you want to do. But other than that, like I look at the data, I'm like, I don't even see what it's really telling me, because for me, I'm interested in how many times I'm waking up throughout the night, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And most of the third party apps are really good with that. So, or with that kind of data.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's just the beginning for Apple though. I think they're going to do a lot with sleep tracking in the future.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, kind of moving in that same vein, we can start to move forward. Apple actually has 3 new health studies that are coming out too. And so I think we'll be seeing one about sleep studies soon. But right now, the first one is around better management and control of asthma using a physiological science from the Apple Watch. So Apple is collaborating with the pulmonary experts at the University of California, Irvine, and health insurance provider Anthem. The second study is partnering with the University Health Network and the University of Toronto in Canada to learn more about how Apple metrics, including blood oxygen, can be used to manage heart failure. And then the third study is partnering with investigators at the Seattle Flu Study and the faculty at the University of Washington School of Medicine to explore how changes in blood oxygen and heart rate can be early signs of an onset of influenza and COVID-19. So pretty cool. I think, again, we've been talking about this, that there are some of these studies that have come out before, and we're going to keep seeing more and more of these. But really, really cool.
Yeah, this is very cool. I would be into this. I mean, I had signed up for their other study, but I realized that I just, I don't contribute enough. So I'm probably not going to join this one. That's actually why I don't do the public betas too, because you're usually supposed to, report failures and, things going wrong. And I just couldn't really devote the time to it. So I don't do the public betas anymore either.
I will say for that, they've streamlined that process. And for me to actually submit something, it has to be like egregious. My phone has to like really die or something. If something's slightly misaligned or unless it's affecting the usability of it, I'm like, they'll catch that. They'll see that. So, but it's true with these other studies. You want to really make sure that you're going to be able to contribute. Like I totally could do this asthma one, but really my asthma now has gotten put in check. It's been a little bit worse since all the fires and stuff that had happened in California, but again, staying inside seems to be kind of the best way to manage that. But yeah, interesting.
So real quick too, before we move on, we actually didn't talk about the colors of those new Apple Watches. And I just want to mention, the red and the blue, man, I'm more of a traditional watch guy. So that just, man, the colors, I don't like them. I could see where some people would. I think more people I've been hearing like the blue. Because I think it's a little more subtle. The red is really in your face.
Yeah. No, see, I like the red one, but I also drive a red Mustang, so I don't mind a little flash on some things.
Yeah, but you're not wearing your Mustang.
That's well, kind of. You've ridden in it, right? Like you wear that thing; it's pretty tight. I will say though that it does become like an accent piece then. Right. And so I would be tempted. I would probably swap my bands out more. Like I might have a red band all the time.
Really?
And then I swap out like for a black band to be a little bit more subdued. I'm going to be a little more classy.
Huh.
Or have, I was thinking about if I did get the 6, I was thinking, well, maybe I'd just rock both of them. I'd have the 6 and use one for sleep tracking and like workouts, and use the other one for like day to day, and that way they can be charging while I'm alternating,
Right.
or I don't know. Then I don't have to swap my bands and stuff as often. So maybe in that scenario, I would be interested in it. The blue is fine. Seems kind of boring. Honestly, when they made the iPhone green, wasn't for the fact that green is my favorite color, I probably wouldn't have pulled the trigger on it. And then afterwards, I got a little envious of other people who had black. I'll probably go back to black on the next one. I don't know. Maybe I'm boring. It's weird. I'm like, I want a flashy watch. I want a regular iPhone.
That is kind of odd because, again, with the phone too, you're not going to wear your phone. So what I'm getting to is, like a red watch, if you're wearing a green shirt, you're starting to get a little Christmas there.
It's true.
It just doesn't go with everything.
Mm-hmm.
As where if you have a neutral color case of, on your watch, like a black watch or a silver, you can swap out the band colors according to your,
That's
outfit.
true.
But man, a red, that can really stand out. Even the blue,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Not my thing, but I can see where people would be into it.
When I think about it, I do have a lot of blue in my wardrobe. So the blue probably would be like 90% of the time really matchy, fit with my outfits. But okay, like a pair of blue jeans, that's a typical thing I'm wearing with a lot. So in that scenario, it might work, but I don't know. If I'm gonna go that way, I'd rather have a black one. If I wanted to go different than my normal MO, I'd probably go for the silver like you did. Something a little different. That might, if they had like a dark silver, not like the space gray that they had before, but like a dark silver and like a gunmetal or something, maybe.
Wait, they did announce one. That graphite color? We actually didn't even mention that.
Oh, on the watch, yeah, that might work too. But I meant for like a phone, that might get me to go a little different. Or if it had a silver accent, but it still had the black face and a black back or something, that would be really where I go. Because a lot of times when they do the white, it'll have like a silver band or something around it. But if you can give me that two-tone and it's not black and white, but it's silver and black,
yeah,
that'd be nice, slick.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Oh, this one didn't come with a power adapter either, right?
No, it did not. And that's what I was going to mention before we start moving on, is that if you're new to buying the Apple Watch, your watch will not come with the wall plug, just the little power brick. You can probably purchase them relatively cheap, I would imagine, Amazon or whatever, but they're no longer including that. So they included the cord. Oh, and just to point out, because I've never owned a stainless steel watch, it looks like the bottom of the charger, like the little puck, has like stainless steel on the bottom.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, fancy.
Yeah. I wonder if that helps something with the charging. Like, I wonder if that's a Series 6 thing or if that's just a stainless steel.
I don't know. I'll have to actually ask my friend that has a stainless steel watch. He has the Series 4, I think.
Interesting.
So just to let people know, yeah, you'll need to buy a separate brick. So if you have ordered an Apple Watch, your first Apple Watch, you will not be able to charge it unless you have, another brick around. That's what they kind of figure. Apple kind of figures is that most people have a lot of those bricks just laying around. So,
and honestly, too, a lot of people have probably purchased other ones because they want a multi-unit, right? Like you plug it into the wall, but you can plug in 2 or 3 or 4 different items.
Yeah.
So, and then you're not taking up multiple outlets. You just have the one. So I could see that as well. Yeah, personally, I got a bunch of those little bricks just sitting in a box. Yeah. Because I don't have enough outlets. I don't want to have a whole like strip just for all those things. I just got one of the little power adapters that you can plug multiple into. A couple of them are USB 3, like fast charging. And so good to go. Just have those plugged in, all set up. Bing, bang, boom.
So one thing I want to mention too is that they did finally add interest-free purchasing with the Apple Card for the Apple Watch now, because they weren't doing that before.
Yeah.
I did this option too, so we'll see how that goes. But it was pretty cool because I think I only paid $78 up front.
It's like tax or something, right? And then
probably, yeah.
And then you get your monthly payments. It's 24 months, right?
Yes.
So I wonder, like, could you Did it give you the option to choose the duration, or was it straight 24? That was it.
It was either 24 months or pay all up front.
You got 1 month or 24 months.
Well, it's fine with me. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I need to do some research because I would actually like to pay it off early. I only purchased it this way so I can see what the options are, because on the iPhone upgrade program, it's actually through a loan company. So you can get a hold of the loan company and say, I want to pay the phone off early. So I want to see if you can do that somehow in the Apple Card somewhere, or contact them,
We bought my wife a new laptop, and while I was doing it, I fumbled it. I wanted to do the monthly payments on it as well to see. And really, I wanted to split it like 2 months to see if it would be, what the experience was like. And I kind of botched it and didn't actually activate that.
That's funny.
And it was weird because it wasn't until we got her the computer for education, so she got a free pair of AirPods with it. But how they do that is they charge you for the AirPods, and they send you the AirPods, and then her laptop wasn't coming for another like 3 weeks. So they don't charge you for the laptop until it's shipped. And when they do charge you for it, they just deduct the money that you paid for the AirPods from that. So that's how you can not scam Apple too, right? You're going to pay for the AirPods. If you cancel your computer before it arrives, you still already paid for the AirPods because you got them. So I didn't really quite notice it until that happened. I was like, oh, the whole thing. Oh, that's right. I didn't go through this. It didn't give me an option. So I missed the button. So if you're listening, guys, your UI needs to be a little bit more explicit in the selection of installments versus one-time payment for the MacBook Air. Just a note.
That's funny. So moving on, watchOS 7 now lets you customize your stand hours and exercise minutes. Finally. So yeah, in watchOS 6, there was no option to customize stand hours and exercise minutes, with Apple requiring at least 12 stand hours and at least 30 minutes of exercise to complete an activity goal. Goals are much more customizable with watchOS 7. The exercise goal can be set for as low as 10 minutes and as high as 60 minutes, while the stand goal can be dropped to 6 hours. 12 hours continues to be the maximum. Activity goals can be changed by opening up the Activity app on the Apple Watch and scrolling down to get the Change Goals option. Under Change Goals, you can set a new move, exercise, and stand goal.
You know what this means, right? Next year, we're going to have an Apple Watch for your cat. So you can set it out. It's 6 hours of stand goal because, they're sleeping 18 anyways. 10 minutes of exercise. Perfect.
Oh, man. That's funny. It's weird that you can go as low as 10 minutes. It almost seems like it should be. Well, no, I take it back. I was going to say it should be lower because their Fitness Plus, they're going to have workouts that are like as low as 5 minutes, I think.
Oh, wow.
But I can see this is a daily goal. So, I mean, realistically, yeah, you should be able to do 10 minutes of exercise a day.
Yeah. And also, depending on the activity that you're doing, some of them don't actually track minutes while the activity is going unless your heart rate's at a certain level. Some of them do.
Like hand washing?
Yeah. That's counting every time, man. The way you wash. Just aggressively washing. No, like walking, if you're not walking fast enough or at a incline or something, if your heart rate's not high enough, it doesn't count it. That was the thing that happened when I was on my bike. I'd be biking back and forth to work way back when. And as I got stronger, it wasn't as much difficulty. And so I'd get home and I'd be missing 4 or 5 minutes because, my heart rate wasn't in the right spot. So that would be a scenario where maybe I drop my goal down to 25. Although now that I'm working from home all the time and I want to take walks, I take a long walk. So that hasn't really been an issue, but now I can up it. Anyways, what else was also announced was a new solo loop style band optimized for the Apple Watch Series 4 and later. The reason for this is because these new bands come in 18 different size options. Apple gives customers a printable tool to find the perfect fit for the solo loop bands on apple.com. Once you print the tool out and wrap it around your wrist, Apple gives you a number between 1 through 12, which corresponds to which case size, either the 40 millimeter or the 44 millimeter, and the band size that you'll need. There are some overlap between the 40 millimeter and the 44 millimeter cases, increasing the band size count to actually 18. So there's 18 different options of bands. These sizing options omit the older Apple Watch case sizes of 38 millimeter and 42 millimeter. So to keep things simple, Apple is noting that the bands are only compatible with modern models of the Apple Watch, which is essentially the Apple Watch Series 4 and the later. I don't know. What did you think about these loops?
Well, I like the braided loop the way it looks, at least in photos. I haven't seen it in person, of course, but they look nice. But I don't know if you've heard, but customers were having some difficulty returning these bands that didn't fit. So
Oh,
I'm going
no.
to skip through a little bit of this article because it's slightly outdated, but customers who choose a solo loop or a braided solo loop along with an Apple Watch Series 6 or SE and have a poor fit cannot just return the band for a new size. The entire Apple Watch has to be returned since it's considered a set. And unfortunately, there are limited supplies of the Apple Watch Series 6 models right now and the new bands, so customers are forced to make a return or are now having to wait from late October all the way into late November for a new Apple Watch, depending on the model chosen. And then since then, Apple has retracted this policy, which is good
Good. Yeah.
because that is just not cool in any way. And it's very, bad on the environment too, to be sending the whole.
That's just a bad logistical nightmare. Like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could have almost a whole episode just talking about these watch bands. I don't know why they did this. Like, again, I'm an old school watch guy. I don't mind a clasp. I don't mind a buckle. Most of the bands I wear are the Sport Loop, which is just Velcro. They're not really solving an issue. And then
yeah.
the amount of SKUs that they have to have for all these colors and
Yeah.
sizes is just crazy. And I have just heard too that if you read the fine print on the solo loop and the braided loop, over time, these watch bands can stretch, causing them to loosen over time. So basically, you're going to buy a watch band that you really love, and then eventually it's not going to fit, apparently.
Yeah, see, I don't like the braided one. It's just not my style. And honestly, unless it was made by like my grandmother, making it as some special item or something, I'm not gonna. It doesn't seem like my style, right? It's just
Yeah.
braided. And then again, to like you said, it's gonna stretch. It's gonna change. Like eventually, your watch
Yeah.
is gonna be down around your elbow. Just seems weird.
When they first announced this, literally the first thought that came to my head was, oh man, they're going to get a lot of damaged watches. People
Mhm.
trying to put it on and then shooting their watch across the room like a rubber band.
Right. What happens like if you do it and then you actually gain a bunch of weight, or rather, you lose a bunch of weight because you're using your watch,
Either way,
and now it doesn't work anymore? Like,
yeah,
it just seems so silly.
this seems like a logistical nightmare all the way around.
We'll see how popular they are. I mean, when it's on, if you didn't get the braided one, if you just got the normal loop, it looks just like the sport loop. So unless people are looking at your wrists, I don't see any benefit to this.
I think they're running out of ideas or something. Even the new watch bands, like I got the charcoal one and I haven't even really had time to sit and look at it in like light, like sunlight.
Mhm.
But the colors are kind of weird. They have like a different color kind of stripe on the edge on each side.
Yeah, I didn't
You know
like
what I
that.
mean?
It was like a weird.
Yeah, I panicked and like, oh, I'll just get that one. But I actually may return it.
Yeah. I when I was looking through them and shopping and just trying to decide if I wanted one or not, there was that gray one, and it has the two different colors on the sides, and I don't know. It's designed for design's sake, I guess.
Yeah, and the previous generation, they were doing the two color sport loop. So when you would pull one side of the loop over, it would be a different color, which I didn't even like those either.
Yeah.
All my sport loops are kind of one color. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. It seems like they're running out of ideas. But
Or we're out of touch. Just old and out of touch. It's going to be a hit.
And there is a lot of people that buy like just tons of bands.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm on a couple Facebook groups that are just band Apple Watch band related, and it's really crazy the amount that people will buy. So I guess there is a market for it. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So we had probably mentioned this on a previous episode, but just in case we didn't, WatchOS 7 kind of removes all the Force Touch support for the Apple Watch now. So
This is a misleading statement because it doesn't remove it. It just means they give you alternate options instead of using Force Touch. And I don't think in the Series 6 it actually has that physical piece
right.
to do Force Touch, but it can still read a long press, right? Like on your watch face, if you just hold on it, similar to doing a Force Touch, it still comes up.
Yeah. And I think we had talked about it in pre-show, like on the Series 6, whether it's as prominent as a Series 5, which I'll have to compare.
Mm-hmm.
But I can feel a little movement on the Series 6, you know.
Yeah, it's just the vibration.
Yeah.
There was a considerable difference when they got rid of the Force Touch out of the iPhone, and it was literally in one scenario where I would use Force Touch to approve a dual authentication thing for work, where like you try to log in and then your phone goes, "Is this you?" And I would Force Touch it, the notification at the top, and mark yes. And then later on with the new phone, they took out the Force Touch. It still works with the long press, and there was just a little bit like a little less feedback on the click. It said of having feeling like it was actually clicking in. It just kind of felt like it was like vibrating. So I'm curious if it really feels like it's that much different. But I don't know. This seems interesting. I actually think from a user experience standpoint, this is better because they're actually giving like straight affordance icons and links to do actions, which is a lot better than a completely invisible UI.
I agree.
So
I think this is a good thing to move on and just let it go. Cause sometimes I would kind of forget that there was like Force Touch and,
100%.
Not to mention that, yeah, from a user interface standpoint, is like some apps would utilize the Force Touch and some wouldn't. And you just kind of couldn't keep track of which ones were and which ones weren't, especially with third party apps, of course. So, yeah, this is better, I think.
Well, by taking out that Force Touch, they had a little bit more room for other things. And according to an Apple Watch Series 6 teardown, it's revealed that the Apple Watch Series 6 has a better battery and a Taptic engine and a slimmer design. This is from 9 to 5 Max. So now that battery inside the Series 6 is actually slightly larger than the Series 5, despite Apple claiming the same 18-hour runtime. According to iFixit teardown, the 44 millimeter Apple Watch Series 6 battery is rated at 1.17 watts. Watts? WH? Is that what that is? Anyways, 1.7 or 1.17, which is up 3.5% compared to the Series 5. The 40 millimeter Apple Watch Series 6 battery is 8.5% larger. It is notable though that battery is larger this year, yet Apple is still claiming the same number of runtime, and that could mean that components such as that new S6 processor are more power hungry. Or that the Apple Watch Series 6 might actually offer more impressive battery life than expected. Other tidbits from that Series 6 teardown is that the Taptic engine in the Series 6 is larger than in the Series 5, and the Series 6 is slightly thinner, going from 10.4 millimeters down from the 10.74 millimeters of the Series 5. So I think they had to do the larger Taptic engine because of the removal of that Force Touch layer.
Cool. Well, why don't we move on to some Apple stories and let's talk about the Time Flies event in general. Well, some of the other things, the iOS 14, they talked about that more, iPadOS and watchOS 7. They announced the iPad Air, or the iPad Air. They announced Fitness Plus, and they announced a regular iPad.
Yeah, now we're going to talk about Fitness Plus in a minute. Let's focus on these new iPads. So they've done something kind of interesting with the iPad Air. They turned it into an iPad Pro.
Yeah, it's faster, right?
Yeah, a little. Well, I don't know if it's actually faster than the iPad Pro. I think it does have a better chip, but it doesn't have the same type of like screen refreshing and some other Some other
Oh, right,
aspects of it
right,
aren't quite the same. It
right.
also doesn't, while it looks very similar, so the form factor is that full screen, no more home button on it, but it doesn't have Face ID. Instead, it has Touch ID, but it's in the sleep button, which is new.
Right when I saw this too, I was like, okay, let's do that on the iPhone so that we can have Face ID and Touch ID, especially in the current time we're living in with
Mm-hmm.
COVID and wearing face masks. It's like, okay, can you do that on all the iPhones that are coming out?
Before COVID, I would have argued with you and be like, you don't need it, it's fine. Just make Face ID even faster and easier. But now that, I mean, this is something that we need to account for now. Like, there's going to be a possibility that your face might need to be covered, even if we get a vaccine and stuff like that later in the future. For who knows what other thing could happen. So I think that it's smart to plan ahead and potentially have both options in there. I'd be curious to see if the Touch ID on the sleep button is as secure as the Touch ID on the home button, and where it also compares to Face ID in terms of like security. Because I know when they did Face ID, they said it was so many more times secure than Touch ID. But I'm curious how this is going to react. I'm also curious if this is going to cannibalize some of the iPad Pro market because it uses the new Apple Pencil too, which is interesting.
And they announced the regular iPad as well, which is still at a really good price point.
It is, but it's really not that much different than the last one.
But it looks like it's still more powerful than my iPad Air 2,
Well, yeah, of
which is
course.
sad. But that's sad.
It is interesting. I think I actually saw like a breakdown about it on The Verge, and they were saying like there's not a lot to talk about. It's basically the last one. It's a little bit faster. That's it. The thing is, in that market spot for that price point, it's still the best tablet device.
Yeah.
So really, Apple didn't need to do anything to it to be competitive, and it is just offering an iPad at a very affordable touch point. If it's you're looking for a very inexpensive but high quality tablet device, that's it right there.
Yeah, and you can use the Apple Pencil with that one as well.
The old one, the Series
But
One,
yeah.
but the Air and the Pros use the Series Two with a little magnetic deal that hooks
Mm.
onto the side and it's a little bit better. But yeah, you can still use the Apple or the Pencil Series One with the iPad too. So pretty good.
I think I could actually get by with that base model iPad very easily.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure.
You know,
Yeah, if you wanted a little bit more screen real estate, then that Air is going to come in handy. And also, it works with the floating keyboard deal, so that's kind of cool too. But there's a lot of great Bluetooth keyboards that are out there, and so as well as just other third party like keyboard covers covered on the show previously. That floating keyboard is a stand, not a case, and so it's not meant to be used in the same way. Lots of different options, which is cool.
so they also announced Fitness Plus. This was a big announcement. Now, this was expected.
Mm-hmm.
Heard a lot of rumors about this, and this is pretty cool. So it's a subscription service, and it's for streamed workouts, and it seems to be aimed squarely at taking on Peloton.
Yeah.
Let's see. They're going to start off. It's video streams of workouts in an array of categories like yoga, cycling, strength training, high intensity interval training, and dance. And what's really cool is you can follow along with videos on your iPhone or Apple TV.
Mm-hmm.
And there's data gleaned from the Apple Watch, so you can see that on the screen too. The integration is amazing.
Yeah.
At least if it works that way. It looked really cool. I'm supposed to get the 3-month like trial when it comes out. Yeah, with the Series 6, which I will be doing for sure. What's cool about this too, I think it was $9.99, and that's for the family.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, that was a family plan. So, and along with this, on the same subject, is they announced a whole bunch of subscription bundles. So
yeah, those the subscription bundles were pretty interesting. They offered like a basic one where you got like Fitness Plus and what was it? You got Apple Music.
the basic one doesn't have Fitness Plus.
Oh,
It
right.
was only
You're right.
it was only like the top tier plan.
Yeah, I want to look at them here. They were kind of interesting. That top tier plan was the one that seemed the most compelling to me.
people are doing the math, and I guess if you go with that plan, if you had all those services separately, by going with this plan, you save like $25 a month.
Yeah, the premium tier, it's $29.95, and you get Apple Music, Apple TV Plus, Apple Arcade, Apple News Plus, and Apple Fitness Plus, and then a whopping 2 terabytes of iCloud storage. That right there is amazing. And the individual and family tiers are available for music, TV, and arcade. And the cloud service is one for everyone to share.
Right.
So, like everybody on the family plan, you get the premium. It's for the family, so it's $30 for everyone, or well, I guess up to 5 people. But Apple Music and Apple TV and Fitness and Arcade can all be. You can have like your own individual login accounts and stuff, which is cool. So
Right.
everybody's things personalized to them, and then 2 terabytes of storage is just bananas. Like lots of space, so that's great.
Yeah, these plans look great. Well, what's crazy too is the what is the base model? Oh, it says it starts at 15. I thought it was $20 a month, but regardless, either way, right now my fiance has us on the Apple Music family plan, which is $15 a month.
So right there.
I think this might be a mistake in this article because I could have swore it started at $20, but even so, for $5 more, you're getting way more bang for your buck.
Yeah. This is compelling. This is compelling enough that I may switch from Spotify to Apple Music because I can get the other bundles. Okay, so here it is. The individual plan is $14.95 on the
Mm,
standard, and then the
okay,
family
okay.
plan is $19.95 per month, and then the premier plan is
That's
$29.
crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, for $5 more
Mm-hmm.
than we're paying right now, we can have a lot more.
Yeah, and that the lower tier plan, you get Apple Music, Apple TV Plus, Apple Arcade, and 50 gigabytes of iCloud for individual, and for family you get 200 gigabytes of iCloud, and then both people get to. So you're saving that way, and then if you get the Premier, it's Apple Music, Apple TV, Apple Arcade, 2 terabytes of iCloud, and then they throw in Apple News Plus and Apple Fitness Plus. So I don't know. My wife still doesn't have a watch, and so we had been talking about it. I don't know. Maybe we'll get her an SE just so she can do workouts and stuff. She doesn't. She wants a round face. So until then, she's not really
Oh,
into
okay.
it. But she's using a Fitbit, but it doesn't always record her heart rate, and so she's getting gypped on her calories because we're calorie counting, right? So when we work
Oh,
out, we
okay.
get extra calories to eat, and we'll go do a thing, and I'll have 500 calories, and she'll have 200 calories. And granted, she's smaller than me, so she should not have as many calories, but it shouldn't be that big of a discrepancy. Or she'll be like killing herself doing some kind of a video and sweating and her heart's going really hard, and it'll say like your heart rate is 80 beats per minute, and she's like, no, that's not right. So I'm wondering if we got her like an SE watch and then switched over to the premium, because she already uses some fitness classes and stuff. If these Apple ones fitness classes are good, it might be perfect for us.
Yeah, and sorry I stepped on your toes on this article a little bit. I was getting a little overzealous, a little excited about this fitness thing. But
Oh,
let's see, what else does it say in here? It's going to launch in the United States, United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, Ireland, and New Zealand later this year.
mm-hmm.
The only thing I wish about this is that they could have got this together during COVID.
Yeah.
Like when it hit is what I mean. When it really hit, when we were just completely locked down and everyone was at home, because people seem to be roaming about a little bit more now. But
Mm-hmm.
when we were just stuck, like this would have been, oh man, it would have been ideal.
I'm sure this was something that was like gently in the hopper, and they probably prioritized it immediately to push it forward. Because I mean, it's still not ready, and I think they just want to make sure that the content
Yeah.
is there and that the integration is good to make it something compelling. Like honestly, that integration, being able to see my stats on the screen is awesome. What I want to know is if her and I are both doing a workout together, the same workout, will it just show both of our information on the watch? Like, if we both have watches going, that would be kind of interesting to see. Or maybe a miss. You can't really work out with other people. That might come later. But what also is interesting too is you can do it on the iPad. So it's not just the iPhone
Yeah.
or your Apple TV, but you can also pull it up on the iPad. So if you're traveling, you have it there and available.
Yeah, even on your phone too, on your
Yeah.
iPhone. That the video actually showed, or in the announcement video, like they showed a guy like working out in a hotel room
Yeah.
with his iPhone,
Right.
you know,
That's
right in
good.
front of his face. Like,
Anywhere you are, man, no excuses.
I love this, man. I'm really excited about it. I wish it was out already, but
What's also interesting too, so if you decide to just do Fitness Plus and you're not doing the Apple One bundle, you can actually do a full year purchase for $80. So you're saving there as well. So lots of really cool
yeah.
options.
Yeah, and I guess they hired some really good trainers, some kind of famous trainers in that kind of scene.
Oh, and it integrates with Apple Music. So if you liked
Oh
the
yeah,
music
yeah.
that you were listening to, you can get those. And
Yeah, you can get playlists.
if I understood it correctly, can you have it play music you like while you're working out instead? I wonder if you could go that
That
way.
I was unclear on. I will test it when it comes out
Yeah, that'd
because
be
I
cool.
will use this absolutely. We'll get more details when it comes out too. But if I'm not mistaken, some of the workouts were like as short as 5 minutes, which is really cool
Hmm.
because there are people like myself who kind of just get in. I think you've done it too, where you're just trying to get in a little bit of workout.
Yeah.
I like doing those 7 minute high intensity interval trainings, and
Hmm.
those even 7 minutes will beat you up.
Yeah.
So I like those quick workouts. So I would be down with long workouts, short workouts. I think this is going to be great.
The short ones are great for people who get bored too, because you can just do a bunch of different things, and they're wildly
Yeah,
different. So,
yeah.
what
I'm
is
excited. Hmm?
I was gonna say, what is funny is that Apple announced this new bundle, and you got Spotify over here crying, and it's just saying Apple One bundle is a threat to collective freedom. I'm like, okay, guys, calm down.
Yeah, I had to throw this in there. We're not going to read the whole
No,
article, but man, we had to mention this. It's really disappointing. I can kind of see their view, kind of, but at the same time, this is just my guess that in the future, Apple will bundle other companies' products in with this. They already do it with TV. They're not
mm-hmm.
just trying to sell you Apple TV Plus. You can get that bundle. We've mentioned it. I forget what it was, like HBO and something else,
Yeah,
all for a package deal. So I really think that in the future, and it may be a while, I don't know, but I would think that they would offer Spotify or other music services and, other stuff. Long as they're making money off it, I don't think they're really going to care.
Yeah,
So,
but I'm guessing that they'll probably want to take a bigger cut, and so
right.
although in Spotify's eyes, like you can either lose the customer entirely or you can lose a portion of the customer. You know,
But they're getting into some weird territory by complaining about this because, then you have to start targeting Amazon, and other companies as well.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Prime. You get a lot with Prime. Free deliveries. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
tons of
Books and
TV and
music and
movies. Like,
shipping and
I don't know, Spotify. That's some gray area you're getting into. Be careful. But so we'd mentioned iOS 14 came out, but there's already been an update, which is good. I would like to think that I've was a part of this because I was so mad. I was actually having Wi-Fi connection issues, and I've had battery issues with both the phone and the watch.
oh no.
And on both watches, Series 5 as well. Once I installed WatchOS 7, the battery life plummeted. My iPhone used to get better battery life, and it got really bad. So I got really nasty, and I tweeted at Apple support and Tim Cook. And oddly enough, I tweeted this out, and then the next day, iOS 14.0.1 came out and WatchOS 7.0.1. So in
But
their note, what's that?
they replied to you.
That was just Apple support. If Tim Cook replied, that would be impressive. But
I don't think Apple support replies to everybody.
Well, yeah, they respond to most people. I actually looked at some threads because there was actually a lot of people complaining about battery life, and they were really mad.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I wasn't the only one. So, in the release notes for iOS 14.0.1, it says fixing an issue that can cause default browser and mail settings to reset after restarting your iPhone. And yes, I did experience this. It also addresses an issue that could prevent camera previews from displaying on iPhone and iPhone 7 Plus. Fixes an issue that could prevent your iPhone from connecting to Wi-Fi networks. Yes. Resolves an issue that could prevent sending email with some mail providers. Interesting. Addresses an issue that could prevent images from appearing in the news widget.
I've noticed duplicate images appearing in the news widget.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
like
okay.
two different articles from typically they're from the same news organization, but they'll use the same thumbnail image. I don't know if that's just the news company or if it was a glitch. It's interesting. But it is cool. Like a lot of the issues that you were having, they pushed an update and it totally took care of them. So,
well, we were going to go over like some of the features we like, but we're starting to run out of time. Maybe we'll go over that in another episode, kind of some of the new features that we like in iOS 14 and maybe watchOS 7 and the mysteries of iPadOS, right?
Yes.
Because why is there no app library? And why can't you pull the widgets onto your home screen? It's just off to the left side.
Yeah, because iPad. That's only reason.
Yeah, because you don't get a calculator either. Thank you very much. No calculator.
Widgets only on one side.
No app library for you. Yeah. No, this is an iPad.
Yeah, you have more screen real estate. You don't need the library. You just put them all on there.
Apple, but why don't we get these things? Because it's an iPad. Huh?
Yeah. Okay. Maybe next year. All right.
Well, anyways, we have a couple items in for your entertainment if you would like to watch a few videos. So there was a video that they showed at the Time Flies event, and the video was called "The Device That Saved Me," and it was about the Apple Watch, saving people's lives. It was a very touching video. Yeah. So that's a cool one to check out. We'll have a link to that in the show notes. The other one, this, I would recommend everybody watch it. Inside the $5 billion Apple headquarters.
Yeah, this was cool.
This was bonkers. Like, there's been other videos that have surfaced here and there, but this one is really thorough and covers probably just about everything except the areas that are secretive,
Mm-hmm.
So
still even called out where R&D was.
Yeah.
But
yeah, which I didn't know.
Really go in there. Yeah. It's interesting that it is off. It's like separated from the core ring.
Well, why don't we move on to some picks and tips? I'm going to go first, and I am going to revisit a tip that I had on the last episode. So I had talked about how you can ask the personal assistant Sally on your iPhone to tell you the Apple Watch battery level. Well, I was, I guess, a little premature because now it's even better because it gets a little sassy. Sally gets sassy.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. So I screenshotted some of these, and one of them, when I asked what the battery level was, it said at 100%. And oh my goodness, it's full of electrons. The other one says it's at 100%, overachiever. So yeah, I think that's kind of cool actually, because it used to just tell me it's at 97%, whatever. Yeah. So it's kind of cute, and maybe it'll get even more
personality's fun.
Yeah, maybe it'll get even more sassier, And then you also get an alert now when your Apple Watch is charged at 100%. So you get a alert on your lock screen.
Yeah, that I had noticed, which is really helpful and convenient. Although for me, it just would show up in the morning because I would have it do it at night. But for people like you who are doing, the sleep tracking and stuff, this is really helpful. So you can get your watch back on. That was one of the things that I was having an issue with. But when I was doing my sleep tracking was I would forget I was on the charger, and then I would lose like stand goals and, activity tracking because I didn't have it on.
Okay. So moving on, have you seen how people are customizing their home screen?
Yeah, man.
On the iPhone.
Yeah, getting it part of the aesthetic.
For some reason, the widgets just kind of opened up this whole new world for people because they're also changing their app icons, which was apparently available for quite a while, I guess, because they're essentially shortcuts, which I'm going
Yeah.
to go over instructions and I'll have a link in the show notes. But people all of a sudden have just gone nuts. Like a lot of people posting on Twitter about their home screen and showing it and how long they've spent. Some people have spent up to like 8 hours, which I don't know if you have
It's
time for that.
silly. With those widgets, you're able to, change the orientation of things, and you can even have like just sections that are saying quotes and stuff. So that, or having just pictures kind of show up. So that's kind of making it more interesting in terms of your layout. And so then people were using those, and then like, well, I want to change my icons, and they figured out a way to do it. And so now the whole thing is completely different. I've seen
Yeah.
some really cool ones where everything's like black and white, or it
Yeah.
all looks like paintings, and there's some really cool creative stuff in there. It's very fun.
We were talking about in pre-show. I guess people are making money off this too.
Yeah, I got to get
You know?
on that.
Yeah, you do some graphic work, so
Yeah, I got to look that up and see. It would be pretty fun too to do some more personalization stuff. I was thinking it would be neat to, like, I don't know, make it all look like. I've always thought it'd be fun to make my phone look like Wally, and like even change the sound effects and stuff, so you get like a wow, stuff like that. So now I could do it, and I could have different, parts and stuff.
that's
It'd be
hilarious.
kind of fun.
Well, I changed one icon because it's just one that kind of drives me nuts. Is that the phone icon and the messages icon are like the exact same color?
Right.
To me, it seems weird because I've seen people in this customization, right? Like changing their icons, make them all one color. So if you make them all one color, cool. Okay, making two of them the same color, having Apple do that just seems a little bit strange to me. And if
Yeah,
you're like, hurrying up and sometimes you might tap on the wrong icon real quick. So I actually changed mine to like this kind of white background with the blue. It's kind of similar to what was on the computer, right? On the Mac.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
I'm actually surprised. I wouldn't be that they haven't updated that icon, just because you're right. There's the icon on the Mac that is blue with the other bubble, and the whole fact that like it's such a big deal to have the blue bubble or green bubble, and
yeah.
they made the icon green, which
Yeah,
is like, oh, you're talking to an Android person, I guess.
yeah.
But,
Why are they putting the emphasis on the green?
yeah, it should be blue. Part of the
Strange.
aesthetic, man.
So I wanted to do a little quick walkthrough of how to change your app icon because it's pretty cool. And of course, again, we'll have a link in the show notes on how to do it. But so you would launch the Shortcuts app on your iPhone or iPad. Now, this is going to be better on an iPhone, just saying, but because you don't have the widgets on your home screen on an iPad because it's an iPad. And that's why. So then you tap the plus icon on the top right corner of the screen, then tap Add Action. Use the text field to search for an open app, right? The app you want to use. Select that app, then tap Choose. Use the search for an app you want to change the icon and select it. Tap the three dots in the top right corner. Tap Add to Home Screen. Tap the placeholder app icon. From the drop-down menu, select Take Photo, Choose Photo, or Choose File. Of course, this is going to be Choose a Photo, most likely. And then select your replacement image. In the text field, rename the app as you want it to appear on the home screen. Tap Add, tap Done. Your shortcut has now been created. Return to the home screen. So just to point out too, this is a shortcut. So when you tap to open that app, it is going to go through the Shortcuts app. That's the only downside. But what's cool with having the app library now on the iPhone and iPad. Oh, no, not the iPad. Sorry, because it's an iPad. But on the iPhone is that when you get rid of that existing app, like I did it with Messages. So I got rid of the Messages app, but it's stored in the app library. So it's still there. It's not gone. So you're basically hiding whatever app you're replacing with a new app icon. You're just hiding it away and you're creating essentially a shortcut. So there's a few drawbacks. Like I said, it's a shortcut, so it starts when you tap on it, it opens the
Mm.
Shortcuts app. You also won't get the little notification badges if that's your thing. Personally, I turn almost all of those off. So
Mm.
it's pretty cool. If you want to spend a lot of time too, you can actually change all of your icons.
Oh, yeah, that's true. It is interesting. Yeah, that I'm wondering if because of the popularity of this, if Apple will actually start to support this as a full feature where you can just customize your icons, because that notification thing is actually a big deal. Like if
Yeah.
I didn't have notifications on messages and stuff like that, I might miss it. So,
I would think that like right now they're paying attention to
mhm,
all these articles because there's tons of articles. I mean, if you search for this, there's tons of articles of people just going nuts with this. And that what that means is that people love doing this. But
mhm,
having an easier way where you don't have to spend 8 hours would be great because I briefly owned an Android phone for like what was it 3 4 days, but I did get really in deep with it, and I did change launchers. And when you do that, you can set up a whole new theme, and there's just endless themes, and some of them were free, some people would charge. It would be great to have that capability on the iPhone, and I think they will do it eventually because so many people like it.
mhm. I mean, they've already done like dark mode, so it shouldn't be hard to introduce a new type of theming and just add in additional icon graphics and things like that. So I definitely think this is going to be something we see in the future. In the meantime, it would be nice if they pushed an update to shortcuts so that a shortcut doesn't have to open the shortcuts app and then do the thing.
That would be cool too.
And if you could have push notifications show up on that graphic instead. But cool stuff.
Yeah, we'll see what they do. I mean, it would benefit them. It would benefit Apple as well and developers, because they would both make money off selling, like a whole icon pack that you can just install, with a couple clicks. We'll see what happens, but it's pretty cool to see what people have been doing. Anyways, do you have a pick or a tip?
So I have a pick, and this was inspired by the whole new widgets. I was actually really excited once the OS launched and people started creating more applications that utilize those widgets. My pick is called Cheat Sheet Notes, and it is free, although you can. It does have an in-app purchase, so you can choose to get like a premium version for $5. It's a flat fee, which is really cool. But cheat sheets is for the little things you never remember: hotel rooms, license plates, luggage combinations, ID numbers. You write it down in cheat sheet and then refer to it anytime in the widget or paste them anywhere with a custom keyboard. So essentially, it's just like it's a glorified sticky note, right? That you can have. It has the app itself where you can load in different items and you can put like an icon and then freeform text. So it can be like they were saying, maybe it's a hotel room or a luggage combo or something like that. You're at an amusement park and you need to remember the combo and number for your storage locker, that kind of thing. That information then shows up on the widget. You can have it show up on a widget on your home screen. It also has integration into the Apple Watch, so you can have it as a complication and just have them show up on your watch face. And it also has integration into iMessage, so you can easily share things around. It has an iPad version. So yeah, really cool. I've been using it for a little while. I have it just to, keep little notes on things. I also use it as kind of like a way to give myself a reminder without using the reminders app. If there's something I need to glance real quick, it's just a good way to have that information just up all the time, kind of in your face and on your phone. So check it out. I've been using the free version with no gripes. I'm not really sure what you get out of the bonus if you pay for the premium version. So I think you maybe get more options, like you can hold more stuff. But for what I'm using it, it's great.
Cool. Yeah, I looked this up and I realized that at some point I had downloaded this. So
Oh,
I may
nice.
have to revisit it, check it out again. But yeah, very cool. That's handy. And it's great that it's on the Apple Watch as well. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that about wraps it up for this episode. Everyone, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll talk at you in 2 weeks. Read all the stories we've covered and more stories on Flipboard, a link provided in the show notes. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at the Apple Watchers Podcast and on Twitter at Watchers Tweet. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Overcast, or wherever you get your podcast. You can even ask your smart speaker to play the Apple Watchers podcast. You can also listen on YouTube, a link provided in the show notes. Please subscribe and rate us wherever you listen. And thank you again for listening. Until the next episode, I hope the only complications in your life are the ones on the face of your Apple Watch.